We're going to mess around with Collision today. It's one of those Ableton devices that I haven't used as much. We're going to take it from a very basic sound and turn it into something very strange. We're going to take this very basic Collision patch and turn it into this. Stick around to the end to see how that sound can be used in a drum and bass track. I'm particularly interested in seeing what we can do with these resonators. So mallet is the thing that you hit with. Messing with the stiffness immediately gives me kind of like granulator vibes. Actually, what happens if I put an arpeggiator there? Let's get into the meat of it. So we have two resonators to work with. These resonators, there's a bunch of different types. So we're starting with beam, and it's got kind of like an XY axis that you can mess with. It's making me wonder what would happen if it was like a bouncy ball, like a, you know, like a little bouncy thing. Put a couple LFOs in, one for the decay and one for the, what is that, radius? Basically just because I wanted to make a little bouncy ball. I wanted to see what would happen if I used an LFO on the rate of this arpeggiator. The LFO that I'm using is this really slow one that I had on the decay of the tube. Gives it kind of a funky sound. Just bounce that sound out. There's one part, it's about here, where the rate is super, super high. It sounds really interesting. It kind of adds some extra harmonics, I guess. It almost makes a new sound, like amplitude modulation. That's what I was going for, AM. This is what it sounds like if you have a listen. Yeah, on its own, that's pretty interesting. Chuck that sound directly into a sampler. I've just moved the start of it a little bit up because it was a little bit too slow. I've added this SMP circuit with a bunch of drive. It is a bit too mono. We need something to give it some space. I'm feeling like this area here is a little muddy. It does still feel like it's a little too mono. I think it needs a layer. I'm wondering if there's anything in this original sound that we could use as the layer. Maybe this bit. We're using this bit, but what about this bit? I seem to have accidentally put that sample into a simpler instead of a sampler, but we're going to run with it and see what happens. I'm going to cheat and put a has on this. It feels like it starts too early. It kind of sounds too much like a telephone dial. Nah, I'm not liking that. Something about that I don't like. Maybe that's a good idea. Instead of using it as the body of the sound, use it as the transient. Actually, now that I've layered these, kind of don't like that transient. I want to try and put an ARP on the transient and do something similar that we did with the first sound. I think that's certainly more interesting. Putting a little automation lane just on that rate for the second guy, and this is how it sounds. I think it's too long. This feels like a good happy medium. The has ain't doing it for me. The has ain't doing it for me anymore. It's gonna go. You know what does always work? Hybrid reverb. And just making sure it's back on older because that extra bit of noise, super cool. Bounced it out, and this is what that sound looks like together. So with the transient wide thing as well as the core mono sound. I've popped our guy into a sampler, put a little bit of saturator on it. Oh, there's an OTT, but we're not going to do that yet. Okay, so the saturator is on, drive is up high. So now, as we all know, the most certain things in life are death, taxes, and OTT. So we're going to put OTT on the end here and just slowly increase this amount. 46, that sounds good. Frequencies seem a little imbalanced, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, so it's really heavy on the low end. So instead of bringing this down, I'm going to bring the top end up. No, that doesn't sound good. Okay, I stand corrected. Pulling this down around the 150 hertz area sounds better. It's really just this kind of muddy area here that wasn't really serving much purpose. Take a step back. We started out with this collision instrument in the tube resonator, and I just wanted to make a bouncy ball. And I successfully made a bouncy ball, to be fair. That's a ball that's bouncing. But we went from this sound to this one. The sound needs to tell me where it lives, and if I play it across the keyboard, I can maybe work out where it feels like it's supposed to live. Sometimes the sound tells you something that you weren't expecting, and this was exactly one of those moments. So I thought that was just going to sound horrendous, but actually that's like a Foley sound. We've basically made a Foley sound for like a Resident Evil game. I've contextualized the sound now into a full beat, but before I play the beat in full, I want to show you one more way that this sound is being used, and it's kind of crazy. Isn't that weird? Cool, so contextualizing this into a full beat sounds like this.